and on YouTube. Here we are. Yay!
Hey.
Yay. Welcome back, Mickey. I'm going to, just for the audience, I'm going to read something about you, just so to remind the audience of who you are. I'm Rita Desnoyers-Garcia. I work with stressed out moms. I forgot that part. Okay. Mickey is a lifelong learner and student. Mick discovered coaching in his first self-improvement course, and it forever altered the arc of his life. It has altered his life professionally and as an entrepreneur for nearly 40 years, and in his personal life, married 34 years, wow, to his love and partner, Kate. Together, they have created an extraordinary life, many times taking the road less traveled. I love that. Mick helps you cut through the noise, clutter, and chatter that has become everyday modern life and everyday thinking. His clients report dramatic improvements in results in performance, clarity of thought, confidence, peace of mind, and creativity and imagination. Welcome back, Mickey.
Great to be here, Rita. I always love being with you. You're a fun person. And that was so spontaneous.
I read very spontaneously, especially when I'm like this, right? I never thought I would be doing that. I do that all the time now. I brought you back because we started our conversation, I guess maybe at least a month ago, several weeks ago, and learned a little bit about you and a tiny bit about the 3 Ps. But I want to learn more about what are the 3 Ps. So we're going to remind the audience again what those are. If you could give some examples and why do we need to know this? Why is this important to us?
Okay, that's great. I'd love to do this. So the 3 Ps is short for the 3 principles. And it really just speaks to the 3 principles of how human beings experience their experiences, their life, the world. And strictly put, like from a strictly definitional point, I'll break it down. The 3 Ps are thought, mind, and consciousness. Now, whatever definition you have for that, I'm going to ask you to put that aside for now. It's a little bit different, but it's looking at it through a slightly different lens. So think of thought as the silly putty or the Play-Doh of the universe. You can build things from it. You know, you have one thought, you may have an idea, or a concept, and then you think some more, and then it becomes a concept. And then you think some more and add a little action to it, and then it starts to become real in the world. And you start telling people, and the more that you put to it, you literally go from the formless, this initial idea, concept, and then it becomes real in the world. Like you decide you want to build a house. You have the thought, then you talk about it, you add action to it. And so this thing goes from the formless to the form. And we do it with everything, everywhere, all the time. Mind speaks to what you could say is like universal mind, or higher self, or the higher power. There's a lot of different other words that are analogic to it. I don't know what the right word is, but it compares to it. But the point of that is it's something it's what animates us. It's like what makes the world go around the sun, what makes the grass grow, what makes acorns turn into oak trees, and it's what has my hair turn from brown to gray. It's all of that and more. And it's all of this thing that really animates us and keeps us, has us be alive, and has this whole thing that's called the world or the universe work. And lastly, there's consciousness, which is the way that is how we experience all of these things. So you put these 2 things together, and we see it out in the world. And we see and that's our experience of the world. And that's the function that consciousness has. So here's a simple metaphor to kind of picture it all. Think of thought as film passing through mind, which is a projector, and you're projecting out to the screen, which is consciousness, which is the world at large. And that's how you experience it. That's how you and I can both agree that I'm wearing a blue shirt with stripes, and you have one experience of it and I have another. Or that we know the same person and we see him in the room, and I have one experience and you have another. Now just extrapolate that over everything, because there is no one way. We think there is. We say that is a tree. I'm looking right now at a tree, a dying palm tree. And we can both look at it and have two totally different experiences of it. And the point of all that is to say that we think that what we see is exactly how it is. That guy is this. The economy is that. My business is this. That client is this. And we'd say it about ourselves. I'm this. I'm an undisciplined eater. And then we what we do is not only do we label ourselves, but then we build a case for it. Or we build so this is a whole thing. So like we're in this soup, and we're in this machine, and we don't know what the exact mechanisms are doing and how to run them. Sort of like trying to drive your car with the rearview mirror.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love that analogy.
It's like
just crash, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and we think it's all real. Now,
yeah.
Are some things valid? Absolutely. Are they true? Yes. In some, I would say small t true. Most things are small t true. In that, okay, there's truth in that, or I experiences that, it's been that way. But except for those, mind, thought, and consciousness, and maybe gravity. Like gravity is, you can't argue with gravity. You can be having a good day, can be having a bad day, it can be sunny, it can be, gravity is going to take hold. If I jump off a building, you can be sure I'm going to hit the ground.
Yeah.
So it's something that's always there. And that's what we're talking about. So that's like the context for how we experience things. Now that doesn't negate psychology and all this other stuff, knowledge. It's just another, maybe a bigger paradigm to put it inside of. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes. And so many images were going through my mind as you were talking. One of the things I was thinking about was the whole gravity thing, right? Gravity exists, and some people are going to jump off something and really hurt themselves, and other people do parkour, and they jump from one building to another, and then they do a flip. Do you know what I'm talking about? The parkour where the people jump from things to things.
Yes.
And some people are going to seem to defy gravity. They're not, but they're seeming to, like if they're an acrobat, right? Or when we see a plane take off, right? That blew our minds. We see birds flying. That kind of blows your mind. Like there's this thing called gravity that keeps us on the ground, and yet there are these beings that can seem to defy it, even though they're not. They're just, their relationship to it is different.
Well, that's a great way to look at it, because they like, I think of those acrobats, they're like doing this whole park thing, jump from buildings and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a certain skill and awareness that they have, and a honing of that takes advantage of that truth.
Yes.
If I jump, I'm going to fall. If I have enough momentum, I could get to here. But it's not just, they don't just do it willy-nilly. There's a skill to it. There's a practice to it. And in doing so, they learn how to use that thing better. And that's what I'm speaking to. We as humans, we have always been taught, learn from your past, learn from the mistakes, be careful. And we always look to the past to try to go forward.
Yeah.
Now, nothing wrong with that, but somewhat limited. Somewhat missing something.
Yes. It's interesting because in the work that I do with clients, so much of it is that they are basing the conclusions of what their situation is and where they're going on their past. And our brain is kind of designed that way, right? It's sort of designed to say, here's some shortcuts so that you're not relearning everything all the time. Otherwise, you'd be exhausted. You wouldn't be able to do anything if you were constantly trying to figure out what is this thing and how do I use it? You're like, oh, it's a pen. This is what I do with it, right? And we make those shortcuts. Right. But a lot of the shortcuts are not very accurate. They're not high for accuracy, really.
Absolutely. We get them mixed up, and the brain is easily fooled because it looks for patterns. Yes. So if it doesn't know what something is, but it looks or reminds it of something, it will put it down that neural pathway. Yes. And it will be fed into the body, and we'll have that reaction, chemical, electromagnetic, and cognitive, that this is X.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not.
Yeah.
There's a great video online. It's a TED Talk called "Why Aren't We Awesomer" by Michael Neal, and he's a big teacher of this. You're familiar. I shared it with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in that, he illustrates that. And it's like we think because we have the thought, things are true.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe not.
Yeah. But wasn't it Aristotle or one of those guys who said something like, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know? Like,
yeah, I'm not sure where that came from, but I'm familiar with that quote or that concept because it's for sure is.
yeah, like I just know this tiny bit. And even then, maybe that's a little questionable. Or the or the visual, the cartoon of the two people looking at a number. One sees 9 when one sees 6, and they're arguing. Oh, it's 9. Oh, it's 6. And they're arguing with each other, and you're like,
yeah,
could be either one.
Exactly. There's let's see, where do you want to take this next? Let's see. Tell me.
Well, I was just going to say, so how is this helpful to my clientele, which happen to be moms? Why is knowing this good for them? Why is this a good thing to know?
Oh, wow. That's really great because first of all, they're given a whole list of things that they should be and how it should go as a parent and as a mother.
Yeah.
And not only are they not capital T true, but they may not even be applicable to the situation that you're in.
Yes.
And I'm not, look, I was never a mother. We never had kids, so I cannot speak to the experience firsthand, but I've certainly seen a lot of it. But the thing I can speak to is the way we approach things and through this 3P model, which has us generally looking at things sometimes backwards, sometimes upside down, and rarely in the present moment.
Yeah.
And that's really somewhat at the heart of this, because if you're in the present moment, you can usually see things for what they are. But if your brain's running and you're trying to survive, getting this kid to be quiet, stand up, sit down, dress, whatever.
Yeah. And
you're busy worrying about, I'm being a bad mother. What are they going to do? We're going to be late, blah, blah, blah. There's no way that you can make, not no way. Your odds or your chance of making a good decision from a powerful place diminished.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you won't get the result you want, but it'll be a lot different. Your experience will be a lot different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're speaking to me here. I think one of my biggest worries as a parent, which is a lot better now, but definitely when they were younger, was something would happen, like someone would spill something and it would be a thing. And immediately I would go into, oh my gosh, what if they're 23 and they keep spilling things and they never learn how to clean up? And I need to do, you know what I mean? Like there's all of a sudden I've taken this one little thing in the present and I projected out years in the future, all of the terrible things that could happen from that one thing.
Right.
And then, freaks me out.
And it's starting in the form of a thought.
Yes.
And then you just keep feeding it.
Oh.
The whole Zen thing, they say, somebody says, thoughts are like clouds, let them pass.
Right.
And there's some real truth to that. Yeah. What we do is we have a thought, and if it doesn't, if it's not controversial, we don't feel it's affecting us, it'll pass. But if we get something we don't like, or we should be different, or something that catches our eye, we'll look at it, and then we'll take our eyes off what we're doing, and we'll look at that thought, and we'll give energy to that, and we'll think about it, and before you know it, we're somewhere else in that world.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with what's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And so that's somewhat of what we're talking about here. Thought is a tool. It's energy. And it's always there. Whether your attention is on it or not.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
So now, yes, that makes some sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am totally on board with you. And it reminds me a lot of, we are not our thoughts, right? We tend to take our thoughts and make them even identities. And then all of a sudden it's really hard to change your thought when you think that's who you are, because then who would you be without that thought?
Right. And we've been trained to declare who we are, live by
Yeah.
certain values, all these things that we start, rather than using them as a guide, we take them on as an identity.
Yes.
And they're just ideas and concepts. There's a great, there's this wonderful little quote, and I never got it until recently. Be a verb, not a noun. Like if you label yourself and you become this, I'm a chocoholic, I'm a late night person, but it's not that you don't like that thing, but then we tend to take it on like it's our identity.
Yeah.
And then as it's our identity, then it becomes an excuse for why things aren't working.
Yes.
And why, I can't do this. Why I can't lose weight. Well, I love chocolate. I can't stop when I see chocolate.
Yeah.
I can't stop. And so it becomes us, when really all it started was you tasted chocolate, you liked it, and you wanted it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hear you. I remember in my 20s, I know like when you're in your teens, you're kind of searching for your identity, but I was very much searching for my identity also in my 20s. And I remember I was in therapy, and I was raised Catholic, but I was like exploring all these other religions, and I was just really determined to join a group. I really wanted to join a tribe and a group and have some stuff. And I think I was looking for some sort of safety, but something a little different than what I grew up with, And at one point, my therapist innocently said something like, what if you just don't join anything? What if you just do your own thing? And I looked at her like, really? No, I don't want to do that. Like, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
That's usually how ideas first sound. And sometimes the more true they are, or the more truth they have in them, or the more possibility they have in them, the weirder they sound, because it's so distinctly different than what we know. Like you're looking left. You're looking left. This is it. Well, why don't you look right? What do you mean right? I'm not going to look right.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
No, I hear you. I think a part of it was I didn't appreciate that I had anything in particular about myself that I could identify with. I wanted to latch on to an outer, and there's nothing wrong with religion or whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, I realized when she said, why don't you just, do your own thing? It felt too nebulous. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to cling to something to get some identity and some sense of belonging, but I didn't know that. I just thought, this is the solution. I'm just going to look at the solution and then be frustrated that it's not working out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, I want to actually kind of point to something that we can take this to the next step. So we're trained to use this for everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of things that are worked through here, but some of the strongest things are survival, and look at survival, creativity, and also, but survival is the biggest one. Let me just say with survival, because that's really the one that I'm going to talk about. We are so designed to look here to figure things out, to protect ourselves, to not experience any discomfort. And we really, until recently, we've not been encouraged to, go inside and listen to our heart, trust our gut, get quiet, get kind of beneath the thinking.
Yeah.
Like the thinking, this is great for certain stuff. You want to figure out you want to do calculus or mathematics or figure out some kind of a problem. Great. That's what this is great. Or you want to watch out for the saber-toothed tiger. Perfect.
Yeah.
But when you're in a situation that you really don't know or you've not faced before, there's a wealth of wisdom, knowledge, intuition, inner genius. There's inspiration. There's so much inside of us that when we get quiet, and that's why I encourage people to use breathing, because really when you're thinking, all your attention is up here. So if you get stuck, you just take a deep breath or two and concentrate on here. Just feel it coming into your body. And immediately it gets quieter. Even if there's residual thinking or residual energy, you're getting quiet. And really all that's happening is you're taking your attention from here to here. You don't stop thinking. Your brain is still going. The body, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. But it passes because now you're paying attention here.
Yeah.
Now in here, not only are there things that are passed down through the ages, but there's stuff from our lives that we've learned. And you know how, and we have many, you can, there's many examples of this from life. You watch someone who's a musician or musicians when they practice a long time, they played a lot of music, and then they get in a group or they're playing, or even if they're together by themselves, rather, they just start playing. And at some point you can see them go from knowing the notes to just being in the notes, being in the flow. And it's not
Yeah.
about, and they go with the flow of it.
Yeah.
Athletes are the same way. Football players, especially you see, well, football players, basketball players, especially people that are in action, and they have to really react to something in front of them, but they're not thinking, oh, gee, he's going here, I'm going to go there. It's just, it's fluid. And sometimes it's a sense. You'll see some athletes that they're just about to get tackled and they step out of the way and they make a move. It's because they're in a flow. They're not thinking. They're letting their body take over. We talked about, I mean, we know about muscle memory. We know there's certain things we do automatically, but we've done it for so long. But when you trained in something or you've inherited, you're in the lineage or line of human beings and they've been through a lot of things, there's things in there that are just at our disposal that we can tap into.
Yeah.
But many times we're up here trying to figure it out. And, just think about anywhere in your life.
Yeah.
It's so if you can get yourself quiet and remember that we have this incredible wisdom and this energy that animates us, is universal mind or mind or God or higher self or whatever. Use your acronym. I don't care. Your label. But the idea is there's an intelligence that flows through us that's there, and we can either put our attention on it or not. It's always there.
Yeah.
Like I can be in a crappy mood about something that didn't go the way I thought it should, and Lord knows I've done it, and I've sat in it, and I wallow in it, and then doorbell rings, and there's my best friend I haven't seen in a month. All of a sudden, I'm in a happy mood.
Yes.
Now that might have stimulated it, but the point is, it's here.
Yeah.
The experience is in here, and all that happened, all that experience, all that thing illustrates is that I took my attention off that stuff I was thinking about, and now I'm here in the present. Look at that, my best friend! Yay!
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's amazing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Very much.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So I want the audience to know how they can connect with you. How do you help people, and how can they connect with you if they need help?
Okay. Well, let's start first with what I do. So what I really help people do is I help them get into their own inner genius, their own selves, to kind of get them from here to here. We're always going to have this tool, but most of us have been so trained and so, and there's so much stimulus coming in, so much stimuli coming in that our brain's always at work, trying to sort things out. What I really try to do is, first of all, I try to get people to slow down, like I talked about. Take that breath, slow down. It's like, okay, I own this company. We've been in business 10 years. We're having another good year, and this problem showed up. That's like what's so. That's what's so. I've got this really cool little. I'm going to show you this. I'll make a metaphor here. Just make it. No, let me keep this clean. I'll get too.
Okay.
I'll do it anyway. So here's a snow globe. So consider that this snow globe is our brain, and that snow is our thoughts. So we tend to, when we have a problem that we out there that we perceive to be a real problem, we think, and we think some more, and we think some more, and we think some more to try to figure it out. And usually that's what we see, some version of that. Now, if I can get people to get quiet and let it all settle, then that scene starts to get clear, and what you're left with is what's there.
Yeah.
Now, when you see what's there and you're now seeing it clearly, you have a choice. In fact, your focus, it's got very quiet. You see it's like in clear black and white or clear color, and you see it. And now you can choose. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I know someone that might. Let me call him. Or she's really good at this. Let me bring them in. Or you know what? My prices aren't selling. Maybe I'll drop the price by 5% or 10%. Everything gets very clear, and very much the drama level drops because we're just into that moment. Okay, it's certain time, certain day, this moment in time, here we are. Choose.
Yeah. I love it.
And that's what, and so that's really what I do, is like I get people to get quiet. And then once we get them quiet, we have conversations, we'll do exercises, but basically I act as a catalyst.
Okay.
I'm like that thing you add to the mix, and then there's a spark gets ignited, and the thing doesn't get consumed, but then there's this whole thing, this whole chemical or chemical reaction that's happening, and things are happening. And so when I can get somebody tapped back into their own inner genius and remember, hey, I'm here, I've come this far, I can take us the next way. And if not, I'll bring in the resources, or I'll take a step to the left instead of the right, whatever is called for. But it gets very clear. And when you get back to yourself and you get that clarity, and that sense of self is again present, didn't go anywhere, it just got muffled by all the thinking. And so then you're I was going to say connected, but it's not connected. You're already connected to it. You're just now present to it, so that you can choose from that space and not from panic or worry or concern in the future, from the past, whatever. It's like, okay, here's where we're at now. Let's choose. And that's what I do, is I help slow people down, have them see things clearly, so they can tap into their own inner genius.
We so need that.
We all do, including me.
yeah, we all need it, right? So how do people? So you had mentioned that you have like a consultation or a session.
Yes. What I do is, if you feel like, first of all, if something what you've heard resonates in you and you have something you want to work on, you can reach out to me. What I do whenever I speak to anybody, we'll usually have a brief conversation with them to get a sense of what they're up to and what they want to do. And then, unless somebody's really not a fit, we sit down. We'll schedule a 90-minute coaching session. It's on me. Wow. It's complimentary. There's no strings. There's no obligations. But you bring to the table what you want to have a breakthrough in, what you want to eliminate, shift, transform. You pick the words. Attain, accomplish, and we'll go to work on that. And a lot of times this stuff it's right there. It's right there. We just can't quite see it. So reach out to me. I think you have the information in the I have a website, I have a phone, I have email, all that. But I'm old school. Phone, I love a phone call. That's no problem. I love in coaching, you got to be connected. You can't just be words on a thing, on a tablet or in an email or text. Yeah. But feel free to call. We'll have a conversation and we'll set it up and see what we can create together.
All right. I love it. I love your generosity. I just love your energy, Mickey. Thank you for coming on today. And for everyone in the audience, please take advantage of Mickey. And if you like these conversations, please subscribe. And I think you hit the bell or something on YouTube, whatever you need to do to keep in touch. So that you can hear more of guests like Mickey. So take care, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Bye, Rita. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.